Hello, Serge here from the backyard driving range. All right. Got an email that came in from Duncan Gom, and he says, "Good day, Don. You reviewed my email on your daily video, and you were so correct. I had already downloaded many of your videos as I could find. I went to the range and sorted the high hands problem out, which was pulling my spine all over the place. I also had my granddaughter take a video of my swing on her phone, and another big problem I had was my left knee was moving about 3 inches, which I did not even realize until the video, and that was pulling my head towards the target." In other words, he's talking about pulling towards the target, so when his legs started to move knee too much, he was getting into reverse tilt. Again, changing the spine angle and everything, and just about every angle. Say no more about the inconsistent results prior to now. If ever you come to South Africa, it'd be my pleasure to meet you. He says he's been shooting, he used to shoot between 104 and 95, now he's down to between 87 and 91, and 3 weeks ago or so I shot my lowest score of 82, and a week later an 84, so if anyone wants a reference, I will gladly give it. Thank you so much. I always love good references, good testimonials. I would gladly give it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a pleasure to play golf again, thanks to you. He also ends up closing, maybe, and he says he plays in a lot of wind where he's at, and he said maybe you can do a video on better ways to play in the wind. I'll write that down and do one of those one of these days. Okay, it's again from Duncan Gom, and he's from South Africa. Okay, when he said good day, I thought he was an Australian, but I guess they say good day down there too. All right. So, talking about the left knee, there's a lot of things in PPGS that naturally always have to come, that are high probabilities of coming up in any discussion about swing issues or swing problems, all right? We know that the big A alignment is number one, bar anything. But lately I've been noticing that in a lot of golf schools I do in private lessons, there's still a lot of folks who are moving the left knee way too much, and they are just like Duncan here, they don't realize it. And they don't believe it is because and almost every time when I point it out to them, they say, "Gee, I've really cut it down because I used to move it a lot, and I had no idea to believe it was still like that." So again, do like Duncan did, get a camera out, get your phone out. If you're on the range hitting balls with your best buddy or something, he's got a cell phone, and I mean, almost like who today doesn't have a phone that can take videos, right? And just take a picture and look at it, because most everybody who found this swing, the peak performance golf swing, and was doing the old type of swing, which said what? Well, you got to lift your foot, kick your knee in, because you need to take that big 90-degree or more turn and get that club to parallel, get that big wind up in the body. And so you had to move it, so everybody started doing it because that was the teaching philosophy. That was the thing you had to do to get that big turn, to get the parallel, to hit those longer balls. And who doesn't want to hit the ball longer, right? But yeah, I'd love to hit the ball longer too, but to me, as long as I hit it decent, my number one priority is solid and straight, accurate, keeping the ball in play. Distance is way secondary, because and you've heard the old expression, the woods are filled with long hitters, all right? And fairway bunkers and all these other issues that go involved with the ball not going where it's supposed to go, is when people are trying to get too much and hit and distance is their primary product that they want to receive from their golf swing. So again, many of you done a great job of cutting down your left knee, but it's still not enough. So let me give a quick synopsis about what we're going to consider as a good left knee. Basically, when I get somebody into the proper stance, I ask them, look at your left knee and tell me, how far can you move it? I want you to be watching it, and you can do this without a golf club, and think about it. If you could do it without a golf club, just think what happens when you add the club in, which is going to have more momentum and more movement of your total body, because now you get that club moving, and the weight, acceleration, momentum in that club is going to put other forces on the body that either they resist them or they give in to them and break down or move too far, and then whatever, they give in to them. So how far can you move that left knee before you start to feel it pulling your left hip? And when I do that with people, you can't believe it. Some people say almost exactly as soon as I start moving it. And some people say 1 inch. I've never heard anybody say more than 2 inches. And I think for most golfers, especially seniors, where we're losing our strength, our suppleness, our flexibility, and everything else, which means we're losing the flexibility of our muscles to stretch more, I think 2 inches is very likely way too much. So But almost like I say, I can't tell you how many people said it's almost not at all before I start feeling it. Well, once you move that knee enough where you can feel the muscle stretch to the point where right here in your hip, where I feel it right there in my hip, that it's starting to, I can feel the stretch, and now the fact where the stretch is I can feel it right here. Anything after that, where am I going? I'm tilting forward. I'm not trying to do this on purpose. You do that. I mean, how about when you were kids, you were standing in line like this, and when you're standing, sometimes you lock your knees back, and somebody comes up in front and just gives you a little, they take their knee and they hit you, like boom, you fall down. I mean, the same thing's happening this way. Once you reach that point, it just collapses, and then boom, it's like the whole stack of cards come down. All right. So the whole key is that I think it's almost impossible for anybody to go any more than 2 inches and still maintain their knees. And remember, the knees are the bees. Move them too much and they're going to sting you. And the whole knees, this is like 3 boxes stacked on top of each other. Ankles to knees, knees to hips, hips to shoulders. Once you start moving, the connecting point between the bottom box, the top of the bottom box, and the bottom of the middle box, and where's all this eventually coming to? The bottom of the middle box is the hips, which now supports the upper body, the spine, and the head. Once you move that, everything starts tilting and falling and everything else. So the key to peak performance swing is narrow stance, wide knees. We kind of call it ride the skinny pony. And when you get the outward pressure, resist. You've got to lift. When you lift, you have to resist the left knee moving. Notice I'm saying resisting. I'm not saying don't move it, keep it rigid. I'm saying let it resist it. But in the end, the resisting it shouldn't move any more than about that. So that's what you're seeing. I only do about that because I resist well. But remember, the resistance is in the left knee. And if you resist the left knee moving and you've got good flex, you should be able to keep your back knee should stay straight. It's only when this starts going down that when this side goes down, that one's going to start straightening and it's going to add more tilt. Now, some people resist pretty good, but they go a little bit too far at the last minute, and then there's a little break here, and then they get their tilting happening up near the top of the backswing. That's what I call EBRT, end of backswing reverse tilt. That's just as bad or worse because now, at least if I do this, I can make some adjustments, compensations while I still got backswing to do. But when there's no more adjustments, boom, that's when you're ahead of the golf ball. Very likely ahead, and you're going to stay ahead unless you force yourself back in reverse weight shift and you open up the whole other side of can of worms to come out of. Okay, so resisting is the key. And the last point here is that I've seen this happen a few times, and it's starting to be a few too many, but you only resist to the top of your back. So when you ring the bell, when you ring that bell and bump and you start your transition, your right arm goes, your right leg follows your arms in the club. It's chasing everything to the finish. So resistance is basically mostly the left knee for a right-hander, right knee for a left-hander in the backswing. But once you start swinging forward, that right foot, knee, and your right hip are right following your right hand in the club, swinging up to the finish. Okay, the resistance is only in the backswing to the point where you ring the bell. That's what's going to keep the knees level. It's going to keep you playing golf on Mother Earth rather than trying to play golf, so to speak, standing on a waterbed. And when you're connected to Mother Earth and you maintain your knee angles correctly, you're going to keep all your angles are going to be maintained, especially when your knees stay, your hips stay, your spine stays, and you can stay straight, you can stay level. And when you stay level, you can make a good turn and good vertical lift and hit the ball solid and straight so you can shoot lower scores. Well, that's it for the search today on the left knee. Check yours out and you'll be like Duncan. You might have a rude awakening, but any kind of awakening to the fact of something's wrong and you know what to correct is a good awakening. And take advantage, get to the range, fix it, and like I said, you'll start hitting the ball much better, shoot lower scores. And that's what we all want, to play better golf. That's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.